only thing that would make that story believable is if it was a 10-point buck. Hey everybody, can you hear me now? Well, hello everybody out there in YouTube land. Can you hear me now? Give me a quick heads up. Make sure you guys can hear me and the stream is working. Always a iffy question here. Yes, you can. Okay. Hey, Rhonda. How you doing, darling? Hey, Psycho Panda. Hey, Grizz. Hey, Mark. Off to the 3 trees in the corner. Off to the 3. Okay. Not sure what that means. Oh, you're a deer. Okay. Yes. Hey, GMC. Hello, Christine. Hello, Tex Babinon. Tex, you know what I'm talking about. Hello, Annette. Nailed it. Hello. How are you guys? Very cool to see so many people here early. Wow. You guys are on it tonight. Hello, Lonely Prepper. Good to know it's working for you. Hello, Bright Horizon Sanctuary. Glad you can hear me. Good deal. Got some new folks in tonight. Nice. Very nice. Hey, TR Outrider. How are you doing, buddy? It looks like we're getting a pretty good crowd together. So how is everybody this morning after that election? Wow, this is my first live stream since the election, I think, isn't it? Yeah, maybe. Losing track of time when you get old. And Donald Trump got elected. How's that for everybody? What say you, folks? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Be bold and be truthful. Tell us how you really feel. Frankly, I'm not sure yet. I voted for Trump. I'm glad to see that he's in. Be interesting to see what goes on from here. So in today's live stream, yes, and the popular vote. Not only did he win the general election popular vote, but then he won the electoral college. So that was pretty cool. And Psycho Panda, you're right. He has been pretty mature. I'm kind of impressed so far with what I've heard coming out of the White House or out of his people in the last few days. I'm guardedly optimistic, actually. Although I have to admit, I took a little bit of sadistic pleasure at watching all of these people that threatened to leave the country or are so anti-Trump, watching them all kind of eat crow. So he said he would be presidential. Yes, you're right. And Grizz, you might be correct. I don't know that either one of them is what I would consider a stellar choice, but he was the better of the two choices. So, and TR Outrider, you're right, better than the alternative. So, anyhow, why don't we go ahead and sort of duck into the subject matter today, which is interesting because you guys are the subject matter. The subject matter today is we're going to do a little Q&A. As most of you know, I've made a pretty major turnaround with my channel recently. And so a lot of people are confused and wondering what is going on. And so I've been getting a lot of interesting questions, and I'm certainly you guys are welcome to post questions here. Please do so in all caps. And I want to try to clarify some things so people have a better understanding of where I'm at and where this channel is going and the direction that I'm taking in my life. So, oh, here comes the dirt. No, there's no dirt here. No dirt here at all. In fact, just the opposite. I'm going to stop being a dirt, right? I'm going to stop being a dirt dweller and start being a water dweller. A little wetter, a little cleaner, but a little wetter. What are my thoughts on Keemstar? I have no idea what Keemstar is. So, yeah, I'm glad you like that, Rhonda. Anyhow, so I've had a lot of folks ask some questions, and so I kind of wanted to get, and yes, TR Outrider, that is one of my questions. Are you selling your 80 acres? Yes, I am selling my 80 acres. $279,000. It is on the market right now, subject to approval by the divorce court. Of course, you guys know I'm going through a divorce, so, but yes, it is definitely for sale. Are you going to put a dive compressor on the boat? Lonely Prepper, absolutely. I'm going to be sailing to and scuba diving in a lot of very remote locations, and it would be impossible to do that without having a dive compressor. Not a big fancy one. They make a nice little gasoline-powered dive compressor that I can buy for like $3,500, and I'll probably carry one of those on the boat. And how much wood? Yeah, woodchuck. If a woodchuck could chuck wood, the answer would be all of it. I don't care if you're homesteading or sailing. It's enjoyable to watch. I'm watching it. Well, Grizz, I appreciate that. Thank you. But I really do appreciate that. You kind of wanted to end up back where the kids are anyway after your trip. And to your right, Router, that's exactly right. And in fact, I kind of see me going and doing a circumnavigation and sailing as a faster route to achieving that eventual goal of being back with my kids. I'm a real estate broker. I cannot sell real estate in Ohio because I have to go back to school for a few years. They would require me to take 2 more years of college. I can't afford to take 2 years off and just do college. So I'm trying to develop a YouTube channel existence on board a sailboat, which I'll be able to live very cheaply on. And so that's kind of the direction that I'm going to be going. What is the aluminum trimmed black box behind you? The aluminum trimmed black box behind me is where we used to do like farm markets and stuff, so it's just a little cash box. I keep my coins in it right now. I'm kind of anal, so in there I get to separate the dimes and nickels, the quarters, and the pennies. But that's all that's in it right now. And I think checkbooks that, you buy a checkbook supply and you get 4 or 5 of them. I store the extra checkbooks in there. So if you want to come steal my checkbooks, they're in that little back box there. And there's not much coinage in there, not, $25 maybe in there, $35. Can you make your first water dwelling series on all the ports of Alaska? Yes, Tex Avenman, that is kind of what we're going to be doing. I don't know about all the ports. I'm not going to be going further north. I'm going to be heading south. From Alaska, I'm kind of more towards the north side of Alaska because most of the people in the sailing cruising community cruise and sail southeast Alaska. So I'm starting up here, and I'll probably start up in Seward. I've been looking at some boats. In fact, I'm going to do some postings here of some boats I'll look at. But I'm already boat shopping and looking to pick up a new boat and head out of here just as soon as I can. So I want to see the whole boat. So far, we've just seen the deck. TR Outrider, can I do that? I may have some footage of the interior of the boat. Let me see what I can piece together, and maybe I'll do a tour of the boat. Keep in mind, that boat I've already sold. The boat that you see in the videos, I sold that this summer. And I will be buying a newer, slightly larger boat in the fall, or actually, I'm sorry, in the spring. And so it'll be a different boat, but I think I've got some footage of the old boat, Nanook, that boat Nanook, and I can show that to you. How are you going to upload from the boat? Where will you get your internet from? Actually, that's a very interesting question, Sorrenti. What a lot of the people do in the sailing cruising genre is they shoot a lot of video while they're en route, and then in this case, I'll probably send that either to a person that I contract with or to my son and let them take care of doing the uploads to YouTube. And they'll probably upload like a month at a time, and you guys will be able to watch the videos on a regular basis still. But I will actually be a month ahead in my actual life from what the videos will be up. That seems to be the best way of handling it. Sometimes we get internet access from time to time as we're traveling along, but it's not usually adequate to upload video. It takes a lot of speed to upload video. But we'll see. We're still working on that, and a lot of that's going to be hit and miss as we're going along. No, the boat I'm buying will not be an icebreaker, although she will have a pretty thick hull for a fiberglass boat. She still will just be a fiberglass boat. How about a fishing trawler? The fishing trawlers usually don't have a good keel designed for ease through the water like a sailboat would have. So they would require too much fuel, way too much fuel. Boats are not efficient with diesel motors in them. I'm going to buy a sailboat because I can simply use wind power, and I can sail for next to nothing. I took up my yacht out sailing, caught a fish, reeled it in, looked it over, and there was one eye, ran around the other side, dodging my pool for the other eye. Okay. There's your little out there, son. You really are. Lonely Prepper, I agree with you. I would like to get a boat large enough that I would have room for some guests on board. That way I could have some guest scientists that we could bring on board for doing projects, or guest divers, or friends just coming out, and we'll see how that goes. Do I have a Twitter? I do not have a Twitter, if you mean a bird. I do not have a Twitter account, if you mean Twitter, the social media. Actually, I do have Twitter. I just don't ever use it. I'm not a tweeter. I guess I should be a tweeter. I'm not a tweeter. I'm not a tweaker either. But, maybe I should do more with a Twitter account. Hard to teach an old dog new tricks, I guess. Do you watch Gone with the Winds? They Got a Cat. Yes, I am a follower of Gone with the Winds on YouTube. In fact, I kind of like their cat. My ideal dream boat is a Lagoon 440. Which is a 44-foot sailing catamaran. I've chartered that boat a couple times down the BVI, and to me that would be ideal, but I don't have $500,000 to buy one of those right now. I'm going to be spending like $50,000 or $40,000 on the next boat that I buy, so it will be substantially less than that. Well, if the stuff hits the fan, we'll be on your boat. Well, that's kind of it. Yeah, if stuff does hit the fan, I'll be out on a boat someplace, so good time to start practicing. How do I feel about the new Star Wars movies? I'm interested in seeing them, but I really don't have any other thoughts beyond that. I've always been a Star Wars fan. I like George Lucas's stuff. Hey, JRC Homestead, Texas. Howdy. Okay, let me see. Some of the other questions that I've had is, I had somebody ask me saying, I thought you sold the boat. Yes, I have sold that boat. The boat that you're seeing in the videos, and are going to see for a few more videos, is Nanook. She was a Cal 31 that I bought this past spring and sailed with a few times, just a few times actually, before the weather got crappy earlier this year. And I filmed all that while I was out on those trips. And but that boat has been sold, and we will be buying another boat, which goes to the other question, people saying, is this the new boat? No, this is not the new boat. I have not bought the new boat yet, but I am shopping right now looking for them. And then we will see where things go. Some broofer who work for transport. What is a broofer? A boofer? Like a woofer, but for bees? Maybe. People want to know if I'm homesteading anymore. No, I am not homesteading. Well, yes, I still am here on the property. I'm on the farm. I am liquidating the farm. Because of my bad shoulder, it's very difficult for me to be handling 50-pound sacks of feed and carrying water. I have been doing that, but I've been running into folks that have more interest in the critters than I have right now, and I am very active in trying to clean the property up and get ready to sell it again. And so we are winding down the homestead aspects here. So you won't be seeing a whole lot more of the homesteading kind of stuff, although I do have some new trail cam footage of some mooses, and I'll be putting that video up this week. In fact, it's sort of funny. Early in the videos, in my videos, if you go back to the very beginning, you'll find a video where the moose washed my car. The moose will come up and lick the dirt off the side of my truck. And anyhow, the trail cam, one of the mooses licked the front of the trail cam and fogged up the glass with their breath. I don't know why they would go up and lick the trail cam, but they did. So, but there's footage of that, and you'll see that when that video comes out. Whoop, a little avalanche going on in here. I just moved some stuff around, and so I guess I didn't put it right. Somebody wanted to know, why am I selling? Number of reasons. This property has a lot of bad memories for me. Guys, if you're going to ask a question, please put it in caps so I see it, so I won't be having a disjointed conversation. Tell us a little about your previous selling experience. Sorry if this has been asked before. What kind of guns do you have? Okay, selling experience. Grew up on Long Island selling little sunfish and small little, even little day sailors. Other than that, I didn't do much sailing until I was an adult a few years back. Did very little sailing. Went down to the BVI and we chartered a catamaran with a hired captain, an instructional skipper. And since then, I've gone back down there a couple more times and chartered boats. And then I bought a boat and kept it in Seattle for a while, a Cal 30 actually, and sailed it around in the Puget Sound area. And then I had Nanook up here in Alaska. So I have a little bit of sailing experience, not a ton, but it's really not all that hard. What kind of guns do I have? Shotguns, rifles, pistols. I have a bunch of stuff. Lever actions, over-unders, autoloaders, muzzle loaders, 22s, bunch of guns. So, and all of my guns, except for one or two, all my guns are for sale. I'll be selling all of them. Okay. How's the shoulder? Shoulder still hurts a lot, although it is really getting much, much better. I don't know why, but there's a certain, if I move my shoulder in just a certain position, like carrying a water bucket, it really seems to irritate it and hurt it. So, but other than that, it is getting much better. So thank you for asking. It must have looked tasty. What must have looked tasty? The moose? Maybe. Oh, the camera. Yeah, maybe the moose thought the camera looked tasty. I don't know. But you can hear her blowing her air, breathing on it and then licking it. So, it's got to be lonely on 80 acres by yourself. Yes and no. I mean, it's me and the dog here, and yeah, it's kind of lonely. And yes, I would like to have a significant other with me, but going through a divorce, I'm here trying to expedite getting things put together and cleaned up, and so I'm really looking forward to moving on with my life. Selling the property here is a decision from wanting to be closer to my family in Ohio. Not really overly motivated on the homestead stuff, being here all by myself. Can't do the construction that I really need to do on this property in order to make it comfortable for myself, because I'm only one person and I don't have somebody to hold the other end of the board with me and do the construction with me. And more than that, in my entire life, I've really had this passion, this real passion for wanting to sail around the world. I always have. I don't know if Johanna is on here listening, my first wife. But, she reminded me that when we first got married, I wanted to go sail around the world. And she gets car sick, so she couldn't do that. So we were together for 17, 18 years. And so that didn't go sailing then. And then I married Penny, and Penny kept throwing up obstacle after obstacle after obstacle to stop from going. So now it's time for me to finally get going. So away we go. Hey, Kathleen, glad to see you here, darling. Don't worry about being late. You're only just a few minutes late. You didn't miss anything of any real consequence. You are mostly welcome. If you drop anchor at Newport, Oregon, let me know, and we'll have coffee if you want. Grizz, that sounds like a plan. I will be coming down through Oregon. I don't know how close Newport is to the coast. I haven't checked the maps over there that thoroughly. But yes, I'll be sailing down from Alaska, past Washington, Oregon, California, heading down. I would like to spend next winter in the Sea of Cortez off La Paz, Mexico, Cabo, San Lucas, that area. Spend the winter in the Sea of Cortez sounds like a good place to do a lot of scuba diving and fishing and stuff. So I'll be definitely heading that way. Sometimes after divorce, you need time alone to get the demons back in their chains. Yeah, Mark, that's very true. I'm really fine. I always heard people saying, well, I'm trying to, find myself or get myself together, get my act together or what have you. And I always thought that was such nonsense. Of course, you are who you are when you are, But now, having gone through this and having dealt with the grief and stuff that I dealt with the divorce, I kind of get that now. You know, I am kind of understanding of people wanting to kind of get their act together and work on themselves for a while. And that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been thinking and working on myself for a while. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Okay, let's see. Stop by Cape Cod, Grandpa. You'll catch some great whites. Sorrenti, I grew up fishing off Long Island, on the north shore of Long Island, but also off the south shore of Long Island. And I have sailed over to Cape Cod before from Long Island on a friend's boat. And I have gone out and caught a lot of great whites. I used to have a good friend of mine named Donnie Braddock. You can look him up. He caught one hell of a great white. It was so large that when they couldn't get it in his boat, and so he pulled it over out into the ramps in Montauk, and a tow truck came and drug it up onto the shore. There's a gun store in Farmingdale, New York called Leslie Edelman's, and they have that shark mounted on the wall. It was like 28 feet long. It was just huge. It was the biggest great white that they'd seen on the East Coast. So there's some big fish out there. There really is some big fish. If you drop by Vancouver, I'll take you out for a beer, coffee. Would love to hear some of your wisdom. Hey, Amelia, that would be awesome. Yes, I'll definitely be coming through Vancouver. I've sailed over by Vancouver before. Like I said, I used to keep a sailboat in Seattle at Shoal Marina there in Ballard. So, yeah, I would love to. I will be sailing down through Vancouver, past Vancouver, most definitely. So let's try to talk about that when the time comes. Okay, so going back to my questions, why am I selling? So that's it. I guess, you know, the divorce kind of motivated me that direction. And really, you know, the divorce, actually, I shouldn't be upset by it because it finally gave me my freedom that I need. Clearly, Penny didn't want to go sailing, and I always have wanted to. So now I'm free to go, and that's awesome. I am really jazzed about the idea of being able to buy this little sailboat. Not a very big boat, not a very fancy boat. Just something that's got the facilities on it that I need, and we're going to take it once around the bubble. So it'll be cool. Okay, anybody else have a question for me? Let's see. I'm east of something. Okay, you guys are talking about where you live in Oregon. Yep, Kathleen's down in Oregon too. Huh, okay. Another question came to me. Are you selling the four-wheeler? Yes, and done did. Pumpkin's already gone. Had a guy come here last night, give me full price for it. So sure, why not? I can turn right around and go out and buy another one for it if I wanted to. But yeah, he just pretty much gave me what money I had in it and took it away. So I got a pretty good deal on buying it because I knew the dealership. But yep, Pumpkin is gone. It is already headed out. Let's see. Oh, you're in Washington. Yeah, well, that's pretty close to Oregon, isn't it? You're only a state away. And those are little states, too. It's not like up here in Alaska. So, okay. Another question I get often, I get this a lot, is how cold is it in Alaska? Today has been warm. We've really been warm, amazingly warm up here. In fact, it is 26 degrees right now, which is just ridiculously warm for up in Alaska this time of year. We are 1.5 feet or 2 feet shy of the normal snowfall we would have by this time of year. I mean, I've got that much snow on the ground outside. That's it. Haven't had to shovel or use a snowblower yet, which is really amazing considering we're, you know, about halfway through November already. Yeah, everyone's complaining here that there's no snow this year. So it's going to be interesting to see what transpires. Typically this time of year, like the first year we moved up here, we got up here around the first week of December, and we immediately had 3 weeks of minus 30 temperatures. So we could still get that. I mean, this is still the middle of November, but yeah, we don't have much snow on the ground yet, and it's really not gotten cold yet. So we will typically this time of year we have, you know, 2 feet of snow on the ground, and so we don't have that right now. Anyhow, Yes, Mark. Sorry, the Polaris Ranger has already been sold. The guy bought the Polaris Ranger, the trailer that I towed behind the trailer, which I hadn't even finished assembling yet. Actually, he bought it unfinished, assembled, and he bought my trailer that I used to haul it in. Just took it all. So that was cool. Got a hell of a deal for it. Do you have a snowmobile? Can't remember. Sorry. I was planning on buying a snowmobile if I stayed here. I do not have a snowmobile, and I am not going to buy one right now. Right now, I am in organizing for cruising and sailing and getting prepared for that. You'll see some footage of Alaska and me in the selling the property and buying a boat and moving will be our storyline for the next, well, for the winter, pretty much, which is just fine because even if I was here homesteading, there's nothing to talk about all winter here in the way of homesteading. Animals are done, the gardens are done. The only thing we're doing homesteading like is I go out and split firewood and kindling on a regular basis. Try doing that with a broken shoulder, guys. Right-handed and right shoulder's broken. Yeah, that's not fun. Oh, 45 degrees in Suffolk County. Wow. Wow. Yeah. That's normal though for Suffolk County, I think, this time of year, isn't it? Pacific Rim shakes, quakes. Our planet is evolving, unsure of natural order or due to man-made issues, fracking, normal tectonic plate shifts. Kathleen, I think it's just all the above. I think there's something going on normally, and I think there's something going on human caused, and I think the two of them are creating. I won't say the perfect storm. I don't think we're looking at any kind of major life changing issue happening, but I still think we're having some issues. Might get a better deal on a boat in San Fran, Lele, Florida. TR Outrider, you were right. In fact, I've been looking on Craigslist at Seattle area boats. But trying to buy a boat up here in Alaska in the wintertime, I get a hell of a deal. There's some real deals going on up here right now. There's a couple of boats that I would have gladly given the price they were asking, except the boat didn't have this or didn't have that I have on my wish list. Not on my wish list, on my required list. One of the things I really want is a boat with what's known as a sugar scoop rear end. That means if you go to the back of the boat, it actually has stair steps going down to the water's edge and has a very low stern to make it easy to get in and out of the back of the boat. I do a lot of scuba diving, and that to me is a big criteria. So we will see. Will you be live streaming on the boat? Depending on where I am will depend on whether I'll be live streaming or not. Some marinas, if I'm in a marina, may have good access, and I'm also working on some cellular-based stuff to see if I can't do a hotspot cellularly and do it up that way. But again, I think I'm going to run into upload speed issues. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that yet. So I hope so. I do hope to be able to do that. I do think there's some changes happening right now that may provide the technology to be able to do that. But right now, I'm not 100% sure. Taco Bell, where every special should be labeled the number 2. Okay, dive platform. Yeah, we could carry a dive platform to set off and on the boat. It's just a pain in the neck, especially if I'm single handling. It's very hard to control the winches and maneuver a dive platform in and out. And if your boat's stern is not designed properly for a dive platform, these boat designers have all kinds of weird angles where they hit the water. So some of them just aren't really conducive to having a dive platform unless you hang it off to the side. So I'm looking for a boat with a sugar scoop is the best answer for that. No unvetted migrants should be allowed. I happen to agree with that. I am a open borders kind of person. I really think we should let people come into our country, as it's always been our strength. But I do think we need to be able to check out who these people are and vet them before we allow them in our country. Everyone's upset about Trump kicking all the illegal immigrants out. And the illegal immigrants are going and protesting. Guys, you're illegal immigrants. You're not supposed to be in this country. Leave the country, come back in legally like you should, and then you've got a right to complain. So I don't have a problem with legal immigration. I do have a problem with illegal immigration. My hope is Trump follows through with every single campaign promise, but more he listens to his constituents. Yeah, Kathleen, I think he will. I think he is listening, actually. I already heard on the news today that the wall is now going to be part fence. He thinks maybe a fence might be better in some areas than a wall. So he's already beginning to, they're wearing him down already. So going to be 60 degrees in Massachusetts. That's nuts. When the highest office in the land are not brought to justice, why should we push anybody? Yeah, right? It's true, TR. Not pop. This is my Pellegrinos that I like. Basically carbonated fruit juice. Good stuff for you. Okay, so another question that I get, or a question that I got up here, which I thought was interesting, is a lot of you guys seen in my videos that I'm chasing away coyotes and trying to get rid of the coyotes because they were killing my poultry. It was my intention to shoot the coyotes, and someone asked me if I shot the coyotes, would I keep the pelt off the coyote? And the answer is yes, because we use them up here in Alaska to make fur ruffs around our parkas and stuff. I have friends of mine who would gladly take the hide and would turn it into a ruff for me and give me back the ruff in exchange for the rest of the hide. But now that I don't have any more poultry here, I kind of have a problem with shooting coyotes because I'm really not defending anything. So, although I do think Lily has made a friend with one of the coyotes, which bothers me because she's in heat right now. And the last thing we need is a half coyote, half Labrador puppy. But remains to be seen. So, and I also have some neighbor dog, so there's white and brown spotted neighbor dog running on the property. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Let's see. Somebody asked how much land do I have? 80 acres. I've already answered that. Somebody asked me, do I have a fishing license? You know, when I was growing up as a kid, we didn't need fishing licenses to fish out in the salt water. Just didn't need one. Freshwater, yes. Saltwater, no. Saltwater, you could just go fish. Well, now, not only do they require fishing licenses for out in the saltwater, but depending on what species of fish you're targeting, you also might need to have what's known as a fish stamp up here. Like, for example, if you catch king salmon, you actually have to put a tag on a king salmon, which is kind of a weird way of doing it. But I also needed to have a license for crabbing and a license for shrimping. What else was there? I think that was it. Oh, and I think there's a special license for spearfishing, but I'm not getting in the water here. It's too cold. But so, yes, I do have a fishing license, but I also have a shrimping license and a crabbing license as well. So there's a lot to do all that. Even 3 miles out, yes, even 3 miles out. The 3 mile rule doesn't apply to fishing anymore. They've moved that out to, I think, it's either 20 miles or 100 miles now. They've moved that line out. It used to be if you went 3 miles offshore, you didn't have to deal with that. Now I think they've gone out to as far as 100 miles. But most of the fishing that I do is near shore anyway. Very near shore. So, okay, let's see. Even 3 miles out, yes. Hey, how's the diet coming along? I'm putting us all. Yes, diet is doing awesome. Really been making some good progress. I feel great. I really do. I feel wonderful. Really cut down. I am intentionally missing a lot of meals. Like I had no breakfast this morning. In fact, I had no breakfast. I had no lunch. I had a couple egg rolls for dinner. I get these frozen egg rolls at the store and just throw them in the microwave and heat them up and put a little hot Chinese mustard on them. And so I had 2 egg rolls and a yogurt for dinner. So I am liking the diet and it's working. I am losing weight. I feel much better. So got a long way to go though. Okay, hi Canadians here. Hey, keep Miley started Justin Bieber. Yep. He's Canada does want Miley. Hey T, how you doing, T Kramer? Nice to see you here. A lot of celebrities who out there need to eat crow. Yeah, you know, I made a point of the day, and I never watched. There's a TV show called The View. You guys are probably familiar with it. I never watch this show, ever. I don't like the people involved with it. I don't care what they have to say. But the day after the election, I watched it just to see them eat crow, and it was pretty funny. And of course, you know, they just sidestepped the whole thing. And even though they all said they were going to leave if Trump got elected, none of them are leaving now. So they're liars on top of everything else. Did you check into the Contrave? I have dropped 35 pounds over the last year. I did not. No, I forgot to. Sorry. Let me make another note of that. I will try to remember to do that again, but no, I have not. Rabid, filthy women on the view. Yes, they are. Drink lots of water. I am drinking lots of water. I drink, that's my water jug. It's an Ocean Spray grapefruit jug. It's a half gallon. I drink 2 of these a day. 2 a day. Sometimes 3. So I have to get up in the middle of the night and go out and pee all the time. But yes, I drink tons of water. It feels good. It does feel good. Okay. Another person asked me, does Lily get potty breaks while out on the boat? No. Lily was making great progress at being trained to go on the boat. I have a patch of AstroTurf that we would keep up on the bow for her, so she could go up and use that. And then down below in the head, I actually had a special, what do they call them? The pee pad things for her, so she could go in the head. And so when we're down below, she can go into the head and go to the bathroom. When we're up on deck, she can go up on the bow and go to the bathroom. And she knows that, and she was just finally getting comfortable with it when we sold the boat. So I'll probably have to start all over again once we get aboard a new boat, but that's what she does. Now, that said, when we're out cruising and when we can, I'm going to try to bring her ashore and get her to run and exercise on the beach as much as we can, because she has got a ton of energy and she really needs to burn that energy off. One thing I did find, which is really cool, and I will have it on the new boat, they actually have a floating dog ramp that attaches to the back of the boat, so that if she's in the water, she can swim around and get up on this ramp and then be able to get back onto the boat by herself without me having to help her any. And I think if I have one of those, she will make a habit of jumping in and swimming and then coming back on board, and that's really good exercise for her. In fact, I'll make sure I get a floating toy for her that I can throw into the water, have her retrieve, and then she can swim it around and bring it back to me, and then I'll throw it back in the water again. So yeah, she's still a puppy. She just is turning, she was born in October of last year, so she's just now a year old, 13 months actually. So she's very much a puppy and still ton of energy, just a ton of energy. In fact, I went out today to do chores and, you know, she just bounce the whole time. So it was, it kind of wears me out watching her bounce around all the time. So, okay, any other questions? I don't see any new questions on there. Just drop her in the water in front of a mako. She'll get plenty of exercise. Yeah, actually, that is a concern that I have, is, you know, having her get eaten by a shark. But I have that same concern for me about me getting eaten by a shark. The world out there is not like you see on Jaws, folks. There's just not that many sharks looking to attack that many things. So usually takes 3 years for a lab to calm down. Yes, I am aware of that, T. I have raised lots of labs. I was a breeder of Labrador Retrievers for many, many years, most of my life, actually. In fact, 3 years ago, I owned 12 dogs 3 years ago. And I don't mean just puppies. I mean adult dogs. My daughter took them when she headed out. That was really her project, was breeding the labs. And so now she wound down her kennel and placed the dogs. She kept a few of them for herself and placed the rest. So she actually took her dog to London with her. I think that's great. You should avoid being eaten by a shark generally. Yeah, it's usually a pretty good idea to avoid being eaten by a shark. Kind of hard to do stuff with big chunks missing out of your body. So, oh, T, you bred them too. Cool. Is she spayed? No, she's not spayed yet. She's just now turned a year old. I don't like spaying a dog until they turn at least a year old. Let them getting a full cycle under their belt and getting their full development. So now I'll be looking to get her into a vet and having her spayed. In fact, that's pretty high on my list of things to do in this next month or so. is try to get her into the vet and get her spayed. So she's not going to be happy about that, but last thing I need is for her to get pregnant and have puppies. I don't want to have puppies. So okay, so let me see another question that I get. A lot of people ask me. They say the question is, you keep saying we, is someone going with you? It is my hope and desire that I will have some folks going with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. I do hope to be able to have somebody going along with me. Ideally, I'm looking for somebody who would like to participate with my YouTube channel and that has some editing and camera skills, social media skills, and I don't know. That's about it, I guess. So, but I am hoping to have somebody go with me. So that is a criteria. Not to say it's a requirement, but it's certainly a criteria. So, our captain, we sail the 7 seas. Yeah, that's right. Going to. In fact, I plan on sailing a lot of places outside of the normal sailing areas. So, going to try to hit some locations that a lot of people don't go to by sailboat, like sailing into the Dead Sea and sailing into Japan and China and Asia. A lot of cruisers just sail past those places, and I kind of like to sail my own boat into Vietnam and see that area. So there's a lot of places that I wish to be able to do some land excursions and learn about those countries and see those countries more, but doing it by sailboat, which is, it's kind of like an aquatic version of RVing. The nice thing is you have your house with you. The sailboat will have everything that a house has, kitchen, bathroom, all that stuff, bedrooms, living room, what have you. It's just that it moves around the world with you. So everybody in the chat gets to go with Grandpa. Yeah, I don't think we can fit that many people on the boat. And we'll see, though. We'll see. I'm not opposed to having folks come down and visit and spend some time on the boat from time to time. So, need to sail around the Antarctic to see if the Earth's really aglow. Yeah. Yeah, no. I have no interest in fact, when I leave Alaska, I really don't want to go back into places with cold water. I want to stay pretty much into the tropics and the warm places in the world. Do I speak other languages? Yo hablo muy poquito español, un petit français, nein sprechen Sie Deutsch, no poco Italiano. I speak just enough of a few different languages to get me in trouble. I do speak quite a bit of Spanish, 5 years in high school Spanish, and I had a brother-in-law who was Puerto Rican. So that helped me develop my Spanish a little bit better than the rest of my language skills. But I speak a little Arabic too, mostly the curse words, because I graduated high school in Bahrain and the Persian Gulf. So I can say some really nasty stuff in Farsi, but other than that, Judy says Cozumel. Yes, Cozumel is a place I will be heading to, but it'll be at the end of my journey. The Mediterranean will be at the end of my journey. I'm planning on sailing from Alaska, or maybe buying a boat in Seattle, but either way, I'll be going down the West Coast, down into Mexico, down from there, down around Central America to Panama to the Galapagos, and then from the Galapagos on through French Polynesia, Micronesia, Australia, the Philippines, Malaysia, India, into the Persian Gulf, because I want to sail up into Bahrain, through the Red Sea then, and up into the Med, and then from the Med back across to the Mediterranean. That's my basic route. Will that happen? I hope so. That's the plan anyway. I know how you feel about attending church, but curious if you found an online outlet for testimony or listening to his word. Kathleen, no, I really haven't put much effort into it. I am kind of doing my own thing. Been doing some reading, but on my own. But I've really been doing a lot of introspection right now, and I've been limiting a lot of my exterior exposure. Um, Trying to just decide things for myself and not have, some other person who may or may not be qualified, who, as we see with so many of these YouTube channels lately, there's a lot of people out there that don't know their butt from a hole in the wall that are preaching whatever it is they're preaching. So, no, I've been doing a lot of introspection on myself. So, Karina says, the reason I no longer have the trawler is inner ear problems and very bad seasickness. I wish you the best of luck. Yeah, the inner ear problems and seasickness is an issue. I don't get seasick. I can sail just fine, and I don't have a problem with it, but I know a lot of people did. I used to when I was a child. I used to get seasick, but I don't find that I get seasick now anymore. I think because now I'm driving the boat, and when you drive the boat, you don't get as sick as someone maybe who's down below trying to do something, getting thrown around. I can tell you one of the secrets to being on a sailboat is eat chocolate, lots of chocolate. Chocolate tastes good going down. Chocolate tastes good coming up. Are you selling my Alaskan homestead? Yes, I am selling the Alaskan homestead. Yes, I have put it back on the market this week without the court's approval. But I did note in the listing when I put it on the MLS that it will be subject to final approval by the divorce court. So what I'm going to do is start advertising it, marketing it, find a buyer. Once I have that buyer and the deal worked out, then I'll be able to petition to the court to say, hey, I've got this buyer at this price, I want to sell it, and the court will enable me to be able to do that. The divorce in the meantime may be over in the next month or so anyway, and so it might be a moot point. But even if the divorce is over, it's still going to be subject to the sale, because my soon-to-be ex-wife can't afford to buy me out of the property, and I don't want to buy her out. So, because I don't want to be here, so I'm just want to sell it and get out of here. So, that's kind of the plan. Were you referring to Ken Horvid when you said people that don't know their butt from a hole in the wall? No, I was not necessarily. I don't know who Kent Hovind is. I don't know who he is. So, no, I was not referring to him. You've been last Pastor Joe on Viking preparedness. Okay, cool. And Rhonda says he's not my favorite. Okay. Do you have to divide the sale? Yes, there has to be, in a divorce, you have to have a division of assets. So we're adding and subtracting. Right now, we're very much in the math. We're fighting back and forth in the court and very much in the math. My wife's trying to get all she can, and I'm trying to mitigate as much as I can. To a point. I mean, she deserves a fair shake, but it ought to be fair, For the last year and a half, I've been paying the mortgage payment here, and I've been paying for our storage units down in Montana, and I would just like to recover her share of that amount. In the meantime, she's had a car that I paid the down payment for down in Florida, and she's not making the payments on that. I've been making some car payments even for her, and I'd like to have that accounted and refunded back to me. So we're going to see what happens with it. Yeah, Judy, that's kind of what I'm wondering. And she did not abandon me while we were here on the farm, actually. She and I had gone down to Florida to try to open up a real estate office down in Florida, and she abandoned me there. At the time, we only had the one vehicle. My daughter up here had our other vehicle, and she took the only vehicle and left me in the apartment by myself with no ability to work or do anything. So I had no way of covering the rent for the apartment because she cleaned out the accounts and then took off. So yeah, I was abandoned down there in Florida. If it wasn't for my son driving down from Ohio and helping me out, and my ex-wife Johanna putting me up for a couple months while I got my shit together, I would have been in a real problem. So, okay, let's see. I've seen it. Okay, Cheshire picked a lot of good teaching. No, she's not returned. In fact, I've not seen her in over a year now. Yeah, not to mention, you're right, Lady Hawthorne. Not to mention that I had her parents here for a year. Her parents lived here on the property. After she left me, I still provided free housing for her parents for a year. So, and they're finally out. They still have like, I don't know, maybe a couple pickup loads of stuff over by where their cabin was, but they're pretty much out of here now. So it's good to close the book on that chapter of my life. Divorce is a business. Dividend should be shared. Yeah, and I have no problem with sharing and giving her an equal part. I just want it to be equal. That's all. I'm not trying to, boot her out with nothing at this point, but I just think. I mean, I'll give you how she hired the lawyer for the divorce. I've not. I have a friend of mine that's been counseling me, but I've not been doing it. I've been representing myself with the divorce, and now the lawyer is realizing that she's not going to be able to afford to pay the lawyer. So now the lawyer is trying to go to the judge and get the judge to agree to have me pay her lawyer. So no, that's not happening. So yeah. Yeah, and Judy, it's actually worse than that. She actually kept ownership of my real estate business website and has been holding me hostage with that. So there's a lot of things the judge is not really happy about, and more that he's going to become aware of here pretty soon. So we'll see. Sorry, I'm just pretty dry tonight. Yeah, well, Sorrenti, that's what divorces are, is people fighting over money. I mean, that's what it's all down to now. Even if she said she wanted to come back, I wouldn't take her back at this point, not after all the stuff that's happened. So it's just dividing up the assets now and dealing with that. So, and what's funny is we have a bunch of stuff in storage in Montana, and she's in Florida, so she could just drive to Montana, especially since she's got a brand new 2015 Mustang. Um, but we have a lot of stuff in Montana in storage, and she wants me to go to Montana and get her stuff and deliver it to her in Florida. Yeah, that ain't happening. I mean, that's the kind of ridiculous stuff we're talking about now. Like I'm gonna drive from Alaska down to Montana, load her stuff up in the trailer, and then drive it to her in Florida and drop it off. Not gonna happen. No, we're way too far away for a final decision. Our next court hearing is December 12th or 18th or something like that. And I'm sure we're not going to have it resolved by then, but we'll see. But if you guys don't mind, I'd rather not talk about the divorce. It's kind of a depressing subject. I'd like to talk about more important things like going sailing around the world, or, dealing with the dog and having fun here on the property in Alaska. Hire 2 men in a truck, charge it to her. Yeah. Smoke weed. Yeah. Dog Lips, welcome to our chat. I've not seen you before on here. I'm not opposed to smoking weed. I have smoked weed in the past. I hadn't smoked any weed since like high school, college days. And I sold some property here. I'm a real estate broker, so I handled a transaction here for some people that bought a building in order to put a grow operation in, and they kind of gave me a tip, if you know what I mean. And so I tried some of that, and I want to tell you, I don't want any more of it. The marijuana that they have out today is so much more potent than the stuff we had back in the day. I got sick from it, and so I'm not smoking anymore. I'm done with it forever now. So, what type of drone do you have? I have a DJI Phantom 4, and it's not a 5 TR. It's not a 5. It's a Phantom 4, and it is a really nice drone. I really, really enjoy it. I wrecked it recently, and I was able to get the parts and the tools and fix it myself, which was cool. And only cost me $20 for the part, and I ended up spending another $30 for the tools. But for $50, I got it fixed and back together again. I was using the drone to play with the dog. If you watch my videos, she chases the drone and the drone chases her. We kind of play a game with it. And I went to make a high bank turn and come back at her fast. And when I did that, a wind gust kind of pushed it sideways a little bit, and it hit a tree. And not only did it break the blade, but it broke the little plastic clips that the blade connects to. So, but we've got that fixed. Karina asks, how are the pigs? The pigs are doing fine. I have the 2 pigs, and I have 3 geese left here on the farm. But I think I do have somebody coming to pick up the pigs this week. Some folks that wanted them. So I'm going to go ahead and just sell them, because with my bad shoulder, I just can't handle them. I can't lift them. I can't drag them. I can't haul them. I'm kind of a one-armed bandit for a while, and they really need to be done now. It's getting cold up here in Alaska, and putting food to them right now, I'm not getting any weight gain because they're burning off 100% of what they're eating, just trying to stay warm. So it's time to just get it done. So yeah, TR, very cheap repair for a $1,200 drone. You are absolutely correct. Had a problem with the P4 other than wrecking? No, Lonely Prepper, I've had 0 problems with the Phantom 4. It has worked for me flawlessly. Thanks, Cycle Panda. Appreciate that. You're sorry about that. The only thing that I've done, which was my operator error, I was flying to the back of the part of the property, and I was on the far side of my truck, right next to my truck, and it got so far away that the truck was blocking the signal on it. So it wasn't communicating with the remote control. And what happened is the drone turned around and came back by itself. I didn't have to do anything to it. As soon as it lost connection with my controller, it's programmed automatically to come back to its original place. So it went up about another 30 feet and then flew back over the woods and hovered directly above me, which is right about where it took off from. And so then it got signal from the remote again, and I just landed it, and it was fine. T, why aren't you keeping the pig meat? I can't process them, T. I don't have the ability of pulling them up. I don't have the ability of cutting them up like I would need to. With my bad shoulder, I just don't have the ability to do that right now. So I do have a friend of mine that raises hogs, and he's going to turn me on to some pork. Actually, this person that's coming to look at my hogs is a client of his, because he's out of pigs to sell, but he does have some that he's holding back and he's got some pork already processed. So he and I are working out a deal, and I still may put 100 pounds of pork in the freezer. It'll just be his pigs, not mine, but that's fine, because he feeds his pigs the same as I do. So it'll be an easy workout. So I know, isn't it cool, Grandpa, in living color and bigger than this laptop? Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Judy, but okay. Let's see, better my phone. Can I drive through Canada to Alaska if I had a DUI about 10 years ago? Dog lips, you can. I don't think Canada has any problem with people having had a DUI 10 years ago. You do need a passport. But yeah, I drive across Canada all the time. In fact, it is a wonderful drive. Go into Montana and go north from Montana up into like Edmonton, and then pick up the Alaska Highway and drive it up. It is without a doubt one of the most scenic drives you'll do in your lifetime. It is absolutely gorgeous to drive through Canada to Alaska. Phenomenal drive. I enjoy doing it just to do it. I mean, even if I don't have anywhere to go, if I had the time and money, I would just drive back and forth just because it's beautiful. So, no, T, we don't have any mobile butchers up here that can do that for me. And at this point, I'm really in the, I'm in the get mode. There's a good chance I might sell my property here quickly, which means I might get out of here before it really gets to be wintertime. And so I don't know that I would even be able to use all that much pork. So the best choice for me right now is I'm just getting rid of everything. I'm literally in the shat and get mode. I'm selling, and when I say I'm selling everything, I mean everything. Pots, pans, dishes, glasses, everything that I'm not going to have on the boat with me, I have for sale right now. I got a huge list of stuff on Craigslist at the moment. I'm getting rid of it all. I'm selling everything and going to go sail around the world, except for the 3 storage units worth of stuff I still have in Montana. That will stay. And that's really all the family heirloom stuff, and all the good stuff is down there in Montana. So the things I would want to keep anyway are all down there. There's a few items up here, nothing really consequential, and those items I'll just take on the boat with me for the time being. So, okay, where are we at? You would drive right by my place to get there. Okay, not sure what that was referring to, Karina, but doing early spring cleaning. Yeah, very much spring cleaning, cleaning out everything. Yes, I am dreaming of waves and not animals. Very true. I'm looking for some sunshine and sandy beaches for a while. Yep, nails and screws on the shelf behind me are for sale. Everything here is for sale. And not to mention, with my diet, last thing I really need to be eating is more bacon and pork. Really don't need to be eating a lot of bacon and pork. So with my diet, again, another reason that I don't need to have the pigs right now. If I was going to stay, certainly I would butcher them, and I would work out some way of doing that and keep them. But no, I'm heading out of here. So how big is the boat? Dog lips, I just sold a Cal 31. I'm looking for something in the 35 to 40 foot range. I don't want to go much bigger than that because it's too big for a single hander to handle. But I do want something in the 35, 36 to 40, 42 foot range is what I'm looking for right now. And I'm looking to spend upwards of, up to like 50,000 or so. And Kathleen, yes, there are some Remington ammo boxes behind me, but there's also some screws and bolts out there. That's screws over there, and that's all ammo. The ammo behind me is 45, 70, 10 millimeter shotgun shells, deer slugs, 22 caliber. That's all the ammo that's right up there behind me. All the stuff I keep handy. And once I'm on the boat, I'll be eating a lot more fish, obviously. So, oh, I see, Karina. To get to Alaska, we have to drive past you. Okay, cool. Did you read that I can see on my TV? Cool. Oh, I see. So I'm huge on your TV, huh? Wow. Yeah, and I don't know about 3 meals a day of fish, but certainly 1 meal a day. I generally speaking only eat 2 meals a day anyway, so that would be fine with me. Okay, I thought there were some Home Depot special on screws and nails. Nope, getting rid of all the screws and nails. Actually, this is nothing compared to what I have out in my shop. I probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 pounds of nails and screws out there that I'm selling. So quite a bit of stuff. Okay, I think I'm all caught up. To each their own, Carl, to each their own. Yeah, Kathleen, and everyone's got their uniqueness, but that's what makes the world interesting, isn't it, guys? I mean, everybody being different, everybody having a little different perspective, isn't that what makes it interesting? Getting to know people and seeing the way they live and what they do and how they behave and how they react to circumstances, and that's what I find fascinating in life, is just trying to check out people from different areas. One of the reasons why I want to sail around the world, see how people live all these different places all around the world. So it's interesting. Reading your comments, okay. You guys are talking about the gout. I'll stay away from the gout. Medicine. Somebody brought up prescriptions, prednisone and stuff. One of the interesting things about sailing is it's sort of weird, actually. It's not uncommon for cruisers to go in and talk to their physician, and there's actually a list. Everyone's list is a little different, but you can go into your doctor and tell them, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to be 4 years sailing around the world, and I need to put together a med kit. And they'll actually write out strips for a whole bunch of stuff that you don't need, just so you can have some on the boat in case you need it wherever you're at, which is pretty cool. So we're building a med kit up, and there'll be quite a bit of stuff in there. Where are you in Alaska? I am in Willow, Alaska, which is south central. I am 100 miles north of Anchorage, 250 miles south of Fairbanks. What do you do on the ocean if a storm comes up? I know nothing about sailing. Lady Hawthorne, it depends on the storm, obviously. If it's a really bad storm, you strip everything off your deck, you take your sails down, bring everything down below, and you basically bob around in the ocean like a cork. If it's a small storm, you might run up a small sail jib, which is a very small sail, which will allow you to keep forward motion and progress going. There are ways of backwinding the sails on a boat to do something called heaving to. You guys have probably heard the term heave to or hove to. So that you can do that you just kind of ride it out. But, you know, the biggest thing is it's not a house, so you can move it. You just try not to be in those locations where there are lots of storms that time of year. Hurricanes are the big storms you have out in the ocean. Those are seasonal. And the best way to not get in a hurricane is don't be where the hurricanes are. It's really not that difficult to avoid since you're mobile. You head out to places and you get away from them. It's really not that difficult. Lily will need eardrops. Well, Lily doesn't need eardrops right now, but yes, I do keep eardrops in the in the kit. She has a medical kit as well. Hey, Grandpa, I'll trade you a deer hanging outside for your four-wheeler. Nope, sorry. Four-wheeler's already gone, Chips Ahoy. No more four-wheeler. It done left the building. Elvis has left the building. Or Pumpkin has left the building, I guess. Yeah, and that's the idea, to keep her pointed in the, somebody asked, do you ever use a sea anchor? Yeah, there's two things you want to do. You want to keep your bow pointed into the waves, or you want to keep your stern to the wind. Either way seems to work well on sailboats. So you can use something called a sea anchor, which is kind of like dragging a parachute in the water behind you. As the wind blows, the parachute will keep you aimed at the parachute so that it'll help ride out and smooth out the rough conditions of the sea. But I've also seen them used behind the boat to stop them from going too fast. Sometimes you'll get up on you go up one wave, when you come to the top of the next one, it has a tendency to want to slide down the wave like a sled would. And if you're running into the next wave, which is building up, you can pitch pole. You can run in and then flip the boat over, which is common on catamaran sailboats, not so much on monohulls. And so catamarans will use a sea anchor to the back of the boat to slow it down from going downhill and skiing down a wave, whereas monohulls, you tend to put them on the bow, so you keep the bow pointed into the wave or into the wind. If you put a sea anchor alpha on the bow, it's like anchoring to that, like running an anchor chain out, and it'll always keep the bow of the boat into the wind. So there's a lot of techniques you can do. And if it gets really bad, then you hit your EPIRB, which is this little emergency device that hangs on the sailboat, and the Coast Guard can come out and rescue you. And if they don't get there in time, then you drown. Shit happens. So it is what it is. Big storm, going to take a surfboard, take up surfing. Nope, not a surfer. Not sure I could take 20 to 30-foot rollers. Yeah, it all depends on the size of the boat. If you're in a 40-foot boat, a 20-foot roller is not such a big deal. You know, you'd be surprised. So, hey, Grandpa, your Craigslist name. I didn't know I had a Craigslist name. I just post stuff up and people get on and respond to me. I don't have a Craigslist name. We don't have Craigslist names up here in Alaska anyway, but anyhow. Sorry, Royalty, I don't really have, I just have stuff put up on Craigslist, so. Always use to tie off lifeline if others are resting below. Yes. Yeah, and Judy, for me, that means anytime I'm outside the cockpit, I'm on a lifeline, because I don't have somebody resting down below. It's just me on the boat. So no one's going to throw me, no one's going to come back looking for me. No one's going to throw me a lifeline. If I fall in, the boat just sails away without me, and there I am. So, yeah, I'm always on a lifeline if I'm coming out of the cockpit while underway. You get smart and get to port before the storm hits. Yeah, royalty, you do. And keep in mind, when you're sailing around the world, the sailing actually takes very little time. I mean, to give you an example, it takes about 30 days to sail from here to French Polynesia. So that's a month. And then it's a bunch of 2-day, 3-day, 4-day, 5-day, 2-day, 3-day, 4-day, 5-day sails, jumping from island to island to island. And then usually you spend a couple of days to a week at every island. So you're actually sailing and on the water less than half of that time, maybe even less than that. You can jump on a sailboat and sail completely around the world in like 300 days or 200 days or so if you just went nonstop sailing. The fact that you're going to stop at harbors and scuba dive and visit place and do inland excursions and all this other stuff, it takes 4 or 5 years to sail once around the world. So 3/4 of the time I will be on land or in a marina or off the water, and 1/4 of the time basically I'll be on the water itself or under the water, in the water, what have you. So interesting. Royal, if you want the location of my Craigslist ad, you just got to get on the Alaska Craigslist and I guess know what it is that I'm selling and look it up. I've just got a lot of tools and household items and building materials and that kind of stuff up. So, okay, let's see. Whoops, natives are getting restless. Need to go heat up leftovers from church potluck. Okay, Kathleen, good night. Talk to you later, darling. Thanks for visiting. You're going to have satellite internet. No, I will not have satellite internet on the boat. I may have an Iridium phone, but that's only for emergencies. They're not really good for like uploading video, or it's like old dial-up speeds. It's really slow, so it doesn't work very well. Type in what you want and the area you want it. That's right. Yep. You'll be in port enough to get internet. Yes, Dog Lips. I will be in port most of the time, and we'll be able to get internet when I'm in port. Usually most of the marinas, if not, there's always an internet cafe or something that'll have Wi-Fi that I'll be able to get onto. Unfortunately, most of those Wi-Fis usually don't have sufficient signal strength or upload speed to upload video to, although that is what a lot of sailors and cruisers do. So I'm going to be doing a combination of that and then also burning the videos to hard drive and mailing them to a location here in the States, probably my son, who will upload the videos for me. So you guys will have a steady stream of stuff coming in at all times. Okay. I use Search Tempest, and it searches Craigslist nationally. Oh, cool. Didn't know you could do that. Oh, I'll have to check that out because I'm looking for sailboats. So, although I used Yacht World. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Yacht World website, but it's pretty good for finding places, finding boats anyway. A lot of boats are listed on there. All the boats listed by all the boat brokers are on there. The boats that are being sold privately are on Craigslist, but the boats through brokers are on Yacht World. So, anyhow, unless you guys have got any more questions for me, we've kind of wasted another hour here. If you guys have some more questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But it looks like we're pretty much getting toward the end here. I've answered all the questions that I had from people this past week. And who knows what will happen next week. We'll just have to see when we get there. And guys, please put your questions in all caps. It makes it easier for me to see them. Let's see. When you sail to another country, do you got to go through some sort of border check? Yes. Yeah, that's interesting that you brought that up. Yes, very interesting. When you arrive in another country, you have to fly on your boat what's known as a quarantine flag. You run up a yellow flag on your boat. So you have your American flag, and right up underneath that you put a yellow quarantine flag. When you sail into that country, you'll reach them on the radio saying, "Hey, I'm entering your country," and they'll tell you where to go and dock your boat or just to anchor your boat and wait. And then you have to wait there, or if they tell you to dock the boat, then you have to go from your boat to the immigration office. And usually they'll have you go through immigration and naturalization, and they'll probably have some people come on your boat and do a health check. And so you'll go through a check-in procedure. They'll stamp your passports, and they'll issue you cruising permits and whatever. You take care of all those expenses and issues at that time. And then once they've completed all that, then you take down the quarantine flag and you put up the flag of the country that you're visiting. So you have the American flag and their flag up simultaneously, showing that you are an American boat, but you're also visiting that country. And then that country will tell you how long you can stay there. Some, like in the Caribbean, the Bahamas, you can stay in Bahamas 6 months on a permit. And what a lot of people do is a lot of people like cruising the Bahamas, so they'll stay over there 6 months. Then they'll sail over the United States, turn around one night and go back to the Bahamas, what we call the Costco run, and then they'll hang out in the Bahamas for another 6 months. And they pretty much live there that way. Yeah, but that's how you check in and out of every country. And you have to do that in every country you go in and out of. You need to have an entrance visa and an exit visa. I found it. It's labeled. Whoop. I lost it. The chat moved. Sailing in the Gulf. The big sailboat we broke our teeth on in my Facebook account. Oh, that's cool. Very cool. Search Tempest also searches eBay. Okay, good to know. Hey, Arnie, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Never had a problem entering another country by boat. Usually pretty streamlined. Yeah, it's usually pretty simple. Not been much of a problem at all. Ah, poor Grizz. He got whacked again. Got to keep his record up. Well, thanks for explaining. I had no idea how it worked. Yeah, not a problem. It's an easy process, but yet it's a process that you have to go through every time. 37-foot chote face sailboat, $23,000 Oxnard Craigslist. Cool. I'll have to check that out. I'm really looking for a boat that has a sugar scoop. That means if you go to the back of the boat, it has stair steps going down to the water's edge. That's what I'm looking for. That's critical for me, for what I do, for my scuba diving stuff. That's really critical. Are you ready for Cyber Monday, Grandpa? Wasn't even aware of it, Srenti. What is Cyber Monday? Are they talking about another supposed cyber attack going to happen? Like, keep in mind I lived through the 2000 scare. What they used to call that? Damn, I don't remember. They used to have a thing for it. In the year when the January 1, 2000, everybody thought the world was going to end. That all the computer clocks weren't going to be able to handle the fact that we went into another century. Y2K. That's it to call Y2K. I lived through Y2K. There you go, Lonely Prepper. Yep. So, Cyber Monday is the Black Friday of the internet. Oh, okay. Everything's on sale. Well, cool. I don't really have anything I want to buy on the internet right now. I am, like I said, I'm in a selling mode. I'm not trying to buy anything right now. I'm trying to put together the biggest cruising kitty that I can. Let me talk a little bit about my plans so you guys kind of understand that. This is gonna get shaky for a minute because I gotta get another drink. What I'm planning on doing. Shake, shake, shake. Sorry about that. Okay, enough shaking. What I'm doing is I'm selling. There you go, Benetal 35.5. Yeah, the bendy toes don't really have much of a hold to them. So I mean they're a pretty good boat, but they really don't have much of a hull, and they have a very short keel on them. They're more of a day sailor or a coastal cruiser, not necessarily what's known as a blue water boat, which is what I'm needing. But yeah, that's sort of along the idea of a Benetal 35.5 that's got that sugar scoop stern that I'm talking about. Shay smiles. Yes, 10 p.m. Eastern time on Sundays. Yes, thanks, Rhonda. Anyhow, so yeah, the idea is to sell everything I have here, buy a boat, and sell the boat down the West Coast and around the world, and live on that. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to be producing YouTube videos on a regular basis all along the way, so you guys can follow along with me and see what all is involved. How far will you go to buy a boat? Ideally, I'd like to find something here in Alaska just because I have a lot of boat stuff that I'd like to be able to put directly on the boat without having to buy a trailer to haul stuff to the lower 48 or to travel back and forth. But with that said, if somebody were to come along now and want to buy my place now, I don't really want to sail down from Alaska in the wintertime. So if somebody decided they wanted to buy the property now, I could make that happen in about 60, 90 days, which it takes 60 days to close on a piece of property anyway. And so then I might drive to Seattle, or I might even go down to San Diego. I would like to stay on the West Coast, I think. The ex-wife is in Florida. I don't want to go back to Florida. So just go ahead and have a boat custom built. Yeah, I can't afford to have a coat, but I'm looking for a good used sailboat. There is a ton of boats out there that need recycle. I am all about recycle and reuse, folks. So I don't need a new boat. I need a boat that I can recycle. So, but yeah, Shay Smiles, this is my normal live stream. Let's see, it goes. Phone conversation goes for Carl gets tired. Actually, Cheshire Canary, Rhonda, not so much that I get tired, but usually I try to end it when I have to go to the bathroom. So, how far will you go to buy a boat? Okay, I answered that. Sail up to Barrow, Alaska. You know, if I were, you laugh, but if I get a boat early in the spring, I might be tempted to sail up around into Barrow before I head south, depending on how much time it's going to take. Only because I'd like to swim with, or not swim with, but get up next to some narwhals. If you guys don't know what a narwhal is, you should look it up. They're awesome. They are unicorn whales. It really is a unicorn, folks, except it has a whale body and not a horse body. Narwhals are absolutely awesome creatures. They're whales with a big spear out the front like a unicorn has. So, how much for the property? $279,000 for my 80 acres with this cabin on it, which is a dry cabin, but there's a well, a septic system, and then a foundation from an old house that had been on the property that burnt down before I bought it. And Paternos 18, sale to sale. Yes, exactly. I am liquidating everything up here in order to buy a boat and sell around the world. Lonely PH, a proven sailboat is better than a custom built one that is not proven. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and some of the older sailboats really are built like, you know, brick shithouses. The cowls, and I've been a big fan of cowl sailboats. The holes on them are really thick and heavy duty, so they can take a licking and keep on ticking. 1980 Hunter Cherubi 37. New paint mainsail. Christian Sid. St. Thomas. Yeah, I need to buy a boat that's in the lower 48. Something, I've got to get all my stuff to it, okay? And I would, if I tried to ship everything to the St. Thomas, I would take pallets and pallets of stuff to get all my stuff to the boat. So no, I'm definitely looking for something that is either up here in Alaska or something that I can drive to in the lower 48. Although, you know, I really hate the idea of driving to someplace. It's just wasting money. I'm trying to get everything sold so I can buy the boat and have enough money to get at least a year's worth of sailing under my belt, or maybe two. So I'm going to be very frugal for a while. I mean, keep in mind, I'm going from a really good income as a real estate broker to literally no income as a YouTuber for a while until my channel gets built up. And it may not get built up. And if it doesn't get built up, well, then wherever I'm going to be, I'll sell the boat, come back to the States, and start over again as a realtor someplace else. So, how about on the Great Lakes? Yeah, I could buy a boat on the Great Lakes and bring it down the canal. That's always a possibility. Again, not ideal this time of year. Ideally, this time of year, you know, if I was to buy a boat this time of year, what would be ideal would be San Diego or Texas or the Florida Keys, or, you know, somewhere down in South Florida where it's warm. Yes, I am aware of the 38 Erickson and Seward for $89,000. I am well aware of that boat. I am aware of every boat for sale in Alaska right now. Irwin Avanti 42. Fort Myers for 55. Well, you guys are a hell of a resource. Yeah, again, the Sugar Scoop is an absolute necessity. I'm really, that's the reason why I'm not buying any of the boats that are up here in Alaska right now. None of the boats up here in Alaska have the right hull for me. Got to have sugar scoops. Got to. I don't want to have to come up out of the water and climb a big ladder to get in and out of the boat every time when I'm snorkeling and scuba diving. This trip is going to be very much in and out of the water, so I need to make sure I buy a boat that's easy to get in and out of, not a boat that has a lot of freeboard, and the freeboard is the distance from the deck to the water. I need something that's got real easy access. So, and they make them, and I'll find them. I've looked on Yacht World and stuff, and I've looked on Craigslist. There's a few really good boats out there to be had. So, and if nothing else, if you guys are following along and you got the idea to do the same kind of thing, what could be a better lifestyle? You're out on the boat, you're off the grid, literally, because you're not connected to power. There's no extension cords across the ocean. You're making your own power either through your engine alternator, to a generator that you have on your boat, or solar panels or a wind turbine. A lot of sailboats are powered by solar panels and wind turbines. Can you add a sugar scoop? TR Outrider, some boats have a design that you could add to a sugar scoop, or modify the stern to have a sugar scoop. It's not a great idea to do that because you're really messing with the structural integrity of the boat. I can find a John boat, put a tent on it, and find some fancy sheets for sails. Yeah, that's not going to work. Yeah. I'm looking for a pretty well set up boat. I found the description of that sailboat my husband learned how to sail. 36-foot Tiana. Oh, Tiana, wow. Tianas are a good solid boat. That 36-foot Tiana would be nice. Again, that doesn't have a sugar scoop stern. So, Rhonda's saying I'd like to alter the entire boat. Yeah, at some point you really are. You're pretty much tearing the boat down and rebuilding the whole thing, but Cheshire, sweet move, but he's male. You'd have to hit him over the head first for him to catch on. Hey now. Are you talking about me being male? You don't have to hit me over the head. I've been married twice before, ladies, and I had 3 sisters and a mother before that. I am well broken in. The guy made the back flat across. I sent you a link. Okay, Gabby, I'll look at that, Judy. I'll check it out after the live stream is here. But so anyhow, guys, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm selling everything here and putting together as much money as I can so I can buy a boat and get a year or two under my sails, which should get me through Mexico and the Galapagos and the French Polynesia. But it's going to be dependent on my YouTube channel building up my building up my subscribers. And my subscribers have taken a huge hit. This change of direction from homesteading into sailing has caused a lot of people to jump ship. I had to kind of laugh. My subscriber numbers, instead of building up each week, are going down each week as more and more people bail because I'm not, giving them the homestead poop or whatever that they wanted. But as one of my subscribers wrote in here, there's a whole bunch of homestead channels. Most of them aren't very good, but there's a whole bunch of homestead channels that are putting out a bunch of nonsense. And if you're going to watch those guys, just be careful who you're listening to, because a lot of them don't have a clue. They really don't have a clue. And I'll get back to homesteading. I will. When I get done sailing around the world, I will go back to having a homestead in Ohio, but by then I'm hoping to have built enough of a bank that I can retire and be able to live without having to work for a while, be able to actually retire. So, has Sugar Scoop not long enough? 34 Juno Escape 990. A 34 might work if the layout is pretty good. Where would that boat be? Carl, Karina, you're welcome. I don't know what you were laughing at, but you're welcome. Love your videos. Eagle 281. Good night, sir. Thank you for visiting with us. I appreciate you being here. Hopefully we'll see you next week, and stay tuned. There'll be some more videos coming out this week. Bumblebee Junction, searching for a clue. Yep, Mark. Back on the grid. T, talking about even many channels are going back on the grid. Yeah. You know, the reality of being off grid, it just doesn't really make sense. It's actually a very inefficient way to live. Having a grid tie solar is the best way of doing it. That way you're not creating the solid waste of the batteries, and you have the gain of the solar panels backing up your electric meter into the power grid. That's the best, most ecologically safe way of having your power. I don't understand the thinking of all these people wanting to be off grid, except the people that want to be off grid, from what I've been seeing, are mostly people that are so disenfranchised with their life, they just want to drop away from society. It doesn't have nothing to do with electric. Their concept of off grid means just, you know, being done with everything and getting away from it all, and, you know, having some little cabin out in the woods. So, which is really romantic, and it's a great notion until, you know, you got to do something with your garbage and you need to buy food and you got to heat your cabin, and all of a sudden all the grid issues come back to you. So it's interesting to see what happens with that. Okay. All right, Judy, I got your links, so I'll look at those after the live feed here. Thank you. I'll be right back and lock up the chicken coop. Grizz gonna lock up the chicken soup. Okay, go ahead. You're right, there are a lot of bad homestead channels. Yep. I'm seeing several are searching with their homesteads. Yeah, a lot of people are just kind of trying to figure out their life, you know. Thunderbird Marine. Okay, I'll check out Thunderbird Marine. Ouch, I can't afford solar. No, solar is very expensive. It really is. Although the solar systems that they have out on boats are pretty neat and pretty efficient. $1985 model, $39,750. Actually sent to. Okay, TR Outrider, that's cool. I will check it out. Some homestead channels have become ego boosters for the creators instead of focusing on homesteading. Yeah. Some of them just like to sailboat swap shop for sale posts. All right, I made a note of that. Off-grid costs more than electric bill. It certainly does, Arnie. It certainly does. What type of power generation are you looking at? Are you referring to me, Rhonda? Since you put it in caps, I assume you are on ego boosters. Power generators on the sailboat are multitude of things. The engine, running the diesel engine, will have an alternator. That alternator will power the house batteries. We'll have a battery bank in the house, in the boat, excuse me. I'll have solar panels up on the roof, which will generate electricity and fill the battery bank as well. I'll have a generator, a portable generator we can hook up to a charge controller, which will charge the batteries as well. So that's 3. And if I decide I want to, I can also add a wind turbine onto the back of the sailboat, which would give us 4 options for charging the house bank batteries, which will keep us with plenty of power on board for things like running refrigeration, navigation, computers, and recharging batteries for cameras and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, well, it'll be a combination of 3 to 4 different methods. And then there's other things. They make this device that you throw in the water. It's like a propeller that you throw out in the water on a fin, and it has a long line, and it connects to this little generator alternator that attaches to the back of your boat. As the propeller goes to the water, it spins and turns, twisting the rope, and the rope then turns the generator, and the little generator makes power. That's another way while you're under sail for charging up batteries. There's a lot of different ways. And of course, anytime you're in a marina, you plug into the marina's power supply. All sailboats are designed to handle not only the U.S. voltage and amperage, which tends to be, 50 cycle 110, but when you're in Europe, it's 220 volt. And so you've got to be able to have a boat that can handle the difference in voltage. So not that hard to figure out, but something that you have to do. Shoot, I left the last two comments or more caps. Whoops. I got some roosters ready for your soup, Chris. Okay. You'll pick up new audience. How big do you hope your channel to get in 2 years? At the end of 2 years, by the time I run out of money, I'd like for my channel to be somewhere around 40,000 subscribers. That's a lot, but if I'm at 40,000 subscribers, I should be able to generate enough money from my AdSense revenue to be able to continue cruising. There are some cruising channels out there like SV Delos or Sailing La Vagabond that are in the 100,000, 200, 300,000 subscriber numbers. So it's quite possible. So we'll see. Is there such a thing as a water turbine to generate while you're undersea? Yeah, Mark, that's what I was referring to. That propeller that you drop in the water that turns the a generator, that when the wind is blowing the sailboat one direction, you drag that behind you, and that propeller turns, and then it's connected to a generator that generates the power for the boat. So they really haven't developed more modern versions of that. I mean, that's kind of an old design from about 25 years ago. I imagine they're probably going to start doing something a bit more sophisticated here with time, but we'll see what happens. So those do tend to slow down the sailboat, however. You can lose a knot or a half knot of speed by towing one of those behind you. So a lot of people are resistant to do that. Doesn't that drag generator take more than 10 knots? No, not necessarily. It takes more than 5 knots, if I remember correctly. You need to be going, at least up at cruising speed. It has to be 4 or 5 knot capacity for those. Some of the smaller ones, some of the bigger ones may require more, but some of the small ones can be handled, I think, down to 4 or 5 knots. Knot speed is how fast a boat goes as opposed to miles per hour. You guys are accustomed to miles or kilometers. On boats, it's nautical miles, knots. Anything's possible, you just have to be positive. That's right, T. You got it. And I am positive. Yeah, look at Rhonda. Oh, he's positive, T. Yeah, I am super positive and super jazzed. My friends here on the channel, Kathleen, who just signed off, she'll tell you, and maybe you guys have noticed it because I've had this comment numerous times of people watching me out on the sailboat and how happy I am out on the sailboat. I am very happy out on the sailboat. I love the water. I love being on the water. I love being in the water. I love being under the water. I have always loved water and playing in the water, and so I'm really jazzed about spending possibly the rest of my life in really close contact with the water. I'm really done being a dirt dweller. I really am. I've done in my lifetime. I owned a resort in Ohio where we had cave tours, and so we're under the ground. We had horseback riding. We had cabin rentals. And so I was on the dirt working that. Farming all my life. I've been farming and raising critters and animals and dealing with more poop and hay and feed and tractors and equipment than I care to remember. There you go, TR route, right at 1 knot, 1.150 miles per hour. And for the most part, a little bit of information, sailboats generally travel about 6 knots. My usual cruising speed will be going around the world at 6 knots, so just about 7 miles an hour. A little under 7 miles an hour. Actually, T, you're right. Instead of Grandpa's farm, it will be sailing with Grandpa. I'm actually considering naming my next boat SRV Grandpa's Farm. SRV means Sailing Research Vessel. But yeah, I'm actually thinking about that. Judy, remember your zinc ointment. Yeah, I'm not a zinc ointment person. I just put some sunburn lotion on and darken. I don't usually use the zinc ointment. That's sort of that yuppie, off the side of the pool lifeguard kind of thing. And I wear hats usually all the time. So Yeah, T, the waterfalls, isn't that pretty through there? Just gorgeous. That area is just, and that's in that same drainage where, you got the waterfalls on both sides of the drainage. And you come up to the head of it, and here's the glacier. Just breathtaking. Very, 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 very cool. Very, very cool. I love houseboats. Yeah, houseboats are pretty cool, except they usually don't go very far. My idea is to be really mobile. I want to go everywhere. So, Lonely Prepper, you bring up a good point. That's one of the reasons why I want a boat large enough that I have a couple extra berths on it. I always have the ability of doing what's known as chartering, um, having people jump on and help with expenses while we move from point A to point B. Just got to be careful about that because different countries will have different laws and rules in regards to that. Arnie, plenty of fresh seafood. You betcha, buddy. Plenty of it. And I'm also going to try to do a Patreon account. I'm going to be doing a lot of, conservation, shark research, reef monitoring, water testing, those kinds of things. And I'm hoping that might attract some people to the Patreon account. Might want to kick in a buck or two or whatever to help fund and support those conservation efforts. So we'll see what happens with that. What can you bring on the boat to have enough to eat for a while? Generally speaking, we stock the boat up with at least 6 months worth of foodstuffs on the boat. We tend to like to keep the boat really well stocked. When we're sailing around the world, quite often we'll go into some third world countries that really don't have much of a grocery opportunity. So you really need to stock up. So needless to say, a lot of it will be canned goods. Um, just because things like potatoes and stuff, they last so long if you keep them nice and cool. But when you're in the hot tropics, they don't last very long. So we'll be dealing with a lot of canned goods and then stopping locally for local fresh vegetables and stuff. How do you homestead on a boat? Well, keep tuned here, and you'll see us homestead on a boat. I promise you, I will be growing stuff on the boat. I'm not exactly sure how or where, but I will have something in dirt growing on the boat. I saw the ice floating and was so glad you stopped. Yeah, the ice was getting kind of big, and what really stopped me when I got close to the glacier is the wind really picked up and was spinning me around. So I didn't want to get any closer because of the wind. What about sailing with a dog? Lily will be going with me, absolutely. Have to have her vet checked to make sure she's healthy and all that kind of stuff. But yes, Lily will be sailing with me at all times. Peanut butter and crackers. Well, we'll have some peanut butter and crackers, not too much of that if I can help it. But yeah, I'm sure we'll end up eating a lot of junk food like Chef Boyardee and, canned stews and that kind of stuff. Although, I'm really a bit of a chef and I really plan on eating off the boat as much as we can when we're in different countries. I mean, the whole idea of traveling is to be able to immerse ourselves in their lifestyle and their involvement. So I want to see all that. Yes, we would have a reverse osmosis system for fresh water on the boat. We will also be carrying lots of water on the boat, but we will have an RO system for turning the salt water to fresh. Wow, 25 by 100-foot barge. I'd hate to pay the fuel for that, Karina. But, that's Seattle and stuff. They have a lot of them like that, and they make really nice homes that are tied up, but I just don't know. I don't understand why be on a boat then if you're just going to be tied up and stuck someplace. You might as well have a house on land. Someone asked about pets in foreign countries. We have to check the rules and regulations of every country entering those. But generally speaking, it's not much of a problem. As long as you have current vet checks on the dog and the shots are all up and that kind of stuff, they usually don't have a problem with them. That said, there are some countries you can't bring a dog into. So we won't go to those countries. It's that easy. So... Hey, Brenda, nice to see you made it. We're actually going into our almost to the end of our second hour now, so you really came in late. The Real Wayne's World on YouTube had a couple of chickens on his boat. Yes, I'm aware of quite a few sailors that do carry a chicken or two on their boat with them for fresh eggs, actually. That's always a possibility, although if I were to bring poultry, I'd probably bring one of the breeds of ducks that lay eggs instead of a chicken, just because it makes sense to have a duck that can swim than a chicken that can't. So, problem is you can't enter a lot of countries if you have poultry on your boat. Bird flu is a real issue in a lot of parts of the world, and so they would not let you in if you had poultry on the boat. So I won't be doing that. But and you know, it really wouldn't hurt me weight-wise to change my diet pretty significantly for a while. In fact, I'm kind of looking forward to that. You know, I'd like to eat some fresh pineapple in French Polynesia. I'd like to eat you know, pork barbecue on a Fijian coast. I'd like to have some souvlaki when I'm in the Greek Isles, or you know, sail up to Japan and have some Wagyu beef there, as you know, as the way they do it right. So traveling around the world is an interesting proposition, and so I'm really interested to be able to immerse myself in the countries that I visit. So, well, good night, Sorrenti. I'm glad you were here visiting with us. Have a good night's sleep, sir. We'll catch you later. Some countries, dog is on the menu. Yes, TR Outrider, you're absolutely correct. Some countries, dogs are not looked upon like we do here in America. So we will substantially reduce that. Lonely Prepper, Smooth Sluggling, you actually bring up a pretty interesting comment. Fresh foods are a problem entering into some countries. You actually can't have a big supply of fresh food when you enter their country. Canada is a perfect example. You're not supposed to bring fresh fruit and vegetables into Canada. I don't know why. The semi-trucks haul through in and out of Canada all the time. It's the same fruit and vegetables we have in the United States that they have in Canada. And the Canadians, I mean, they don't raise oranges and apples and stuff very much. It comes mostly from the States. So, but that's, be that as it is, we'll see how that goes. Brenda, you said Grandpa pee. What does that mean? Do I have to pee? No, I don't have to pee. Not at the moment. When I do, I will be leaving the live stream. Cool. Okay. Well, looks like we got everything answered for everybody. Unless you've got any more particular questions. Finger slipped, please. Keep trail cam out, please. Sorry, Gramp. Finger slipped. Please keep trail cam out, please. Oh, you want me to keep the trail cams out so we can have trail cam footage? I get it, Brenda. Yeah, I'm going to keep some trail cams out. Keep in mind, very quickly, I'm going to be in severe snow load areas, and I won't be able to get out to where the trail cams are. So I have pulled some of the further trail cams already. Mostly it's going to be stuff right around the cabin now where I can snow blow and keep access to. The back part of the property, unless I buy a snow machine, which I'm not planning on buying, I won't be able to get out and do much with the trail cams. Although I do have some trail cam footage that I just recorded of the mooses, which is going to be kind of interesting and funny, and I'll have that video out this week. So, I'll say your live streams are a lot more fun than most I sit in on. Well, TR Outrider, I'm glad you enjoy my live stream. So, Mark says, plus he sold a 4x4. Yeah, Mark, but the 4x4 still isn't going to be able to do me much good. You guys don't seem to understand. Up here in Alaska, when we get snow, we get snow. We'll get 2 feet overnight, and then the four-wheeler isn't going anywhere. It doesn't go in 2 feet of snow. So right now was a good time to sell the four-wheeler because otherwise it's just going to sit and be parked all winter because you can't drive it anywhere when there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. Need underwater trail cams to capture sea life. Absolutely. In fact, I will be having not necessarily trail cams. I will modify my sailboat to have cameras on the stern and on the bow underwater so we can see what's going on underneath the boat at all times. Are you going to do an owner will carry? No, I'm not doing an owner will carry. I'm looking for an outright sale. I have to because of the divorce. We're just going to go ahead and sell the property outright. I don't want to have to deal with having to refinance it and have to come back here and clean it up after somebody else made a mess. No, nice clean sale. That's all I'm going to look for. Let's see. Underwater cams. Yep, got that. Okay. Cool, Grandpa. Thanks, Grizz. Appreciate it. Okay, well, I think we've kind of covered everything once again. Unless you guys have any other questions. And TR, you know, talking about being underwater, we're going to be having a lot of underwater footage. I have well, 2 of my cameras are already set up for going underwater, and my big Canon, I'm getting a housing for my big Canon to take it underwater as well. My Canon 70D will have a dive housing, which will have lights and stuff on it. So we will be shooting a ton of underwater footage, just a ton, quite a bit. In fact, one of the things I'm going to put on my wish list for my Patreon account is I'd really like to get an ROV, which is, you know, camera based, and they have some pretty nice ones that can be bought in that $3,500 to $4,000 range, that I could actually sit up on the deck and drop an ROV in the water and let it go down to like 400 or 500 feet, deeper than I can dive with scuba gear, which will have lights and cameras on it. So that would be, I mean, talk about right out of National Geographic kind of stuff, going out into deep water. But mostly I'm interested in being able to bring back footage so you guys can have some of the kind of unique experiences, or be with me when we have these kind of neat experiences that we have at the water all the time. I still want to learn to dive, have never swam in an ocean. Oh, TR Outrider. Where do you live, TR? You down in Texas? I see your little logos, you on a horse, so I figure Oklahoma, Texas, that area. Go to the ocean and do a, you know, all of the scuba divers, landlubber, all the scuba dive operators will do, sometimes for free actually, they'll do an introduction to scuba diving program with you. Well, they'll take you out and let you dive. You're in Illinois, okay. I'm originally from New York and Ohio. Illinois, you've got the Great Lakes, you can go diving in there, but if I was you, I would hop in your car, take a day drive down to Florida, and go out on a dive trip. Go to the Florida Keys, one of the dive operators, and tell them you have no idea what you're doing and you just want to go out and learn about scuba diving, and they will take you out and drop you into some water. Oh, you're in the Peoria area. Oh, man, do I have a story to tell you. Not fit for public knowledge here, but I used to work with a company that was based out of Peoria, and I remember coming there for a corporate party, and that's all I'm going to say in the live stream. That was in a whole nother life when I was a stockbroker. We had a wild and crazy time in Peoria, I can tell you that much. We had a wild and crazy night one night. Never thought of Peoria as the kind of town. But man, we had I mean, I've been all around the world, folks. I grew up in New York. We had a wild and crazy time in Peoria. Yeah, or go to Cozumel and take one of those trips down there. You know, they take you out in the boat and they take you down and teach you how to do that. So, Rhonda's reminding me that we are after hours. Still, Rhonda, I'm not talking about that in public. Resort course. Yeah, do a resort course. You can take out and go out for a fairly inexpensive thing. They do like a little brief introduction thing to keep you safe. And they don't really teach you to scuba dive, but they teach you how to use the equipment so you can go out for a quick dive and learn a little bit. Man, you get out in that warm water and you see all those beautiful, pretty fishes. If you're like me, you'll get hooked. You'll just want to do that over and over and over again. And I do. Was that company yellow? Was that company yellow? No, it wasn't. I don't know. I mean, it was the company colors yellow? I don't think so. It was Robert Thomas Securities was the name of the brokerage firm. They're a subdivision of Raymond James. So, just got laid off. Won't be doing much traveling for a while. Hey, you just got laid off. Now's the time to travel. You don't have to go to work. You know? Tank full of gas. You could be in the Florida Keys, drive down there, stay overnight in a motel, go scuba diving next night, and get a job working there for the dive operators and get a new job. Start a whole new life. Nothing wrong with that. I used to have cousins in Paw Paw. Cool. I assume that's Paw Paw, Illinois. Yeah, and Lonely Prepper was right. Illinois has dive shops. I'm sure wherever you live, well, you're in Peoria. I'm sure there's a dive operator in Peoria that you'll just be swimming in a swimming pool, but they can teach you a little bit of how to do it. Good night, Brenda. We'll see you, darling. We're getting to get off here in a minute here anyway. Ain't got no money. Oh, I hear that. I hear that. We are liquidating, and I'm hoping to full time the RV for a while. Well, then you're not that bad. If you're going to liquidate and full time the RV, then drive down to someplace warm and go scuba diving. Or do like I'm doing, liquidate everything, go buy a sailboat and go sail instead of RVing. Why RV and spend all that money on fuel, driving on land, burning through tires, when you could be on a boat and sail anywhere in the world and not just be limited to, where you can park or you can't park and all the BS rules and regulations of being on the ground. Even with an RV, you pull into a campground, you still got to pay to camp. I mean, there's really not that much of a cost savings. Whereas with a sailboat, I can drop my hook anywhere I want to drop my hook. I can drop my anchor anywhere I want to and spend the night. So it's a much better option than an RV. It's just a little out there for people that aren't aware of it, and it takes just a little bit of time to figure it out. So, B says you can take some dive classes at the YMCA pool. Yes, you can. Observer of the fire. Your beard and mustache look so cool. Well, I'm glad you like my beard and mustache, but when I get on board the sailboat, they're gone. They make my scuba diving mask leak. So, the beard might stay, but the mustache is a problem. So, and yes, there can be docking fees, Karina, but that's optional. You can choose not to dock. You can choose to drop a hook someplace and not dock up at a marina. So it's your option. Whereas in a lot of places in America, you can't just park an RV well, you can any Walmart parking lot, but who the hell wants to spend a night in a Walmart parking lot? It takes training to sail around the world. Oh, dog lips, you'd be surprised how little training it takes to sail around the world. Sailing is not that hard to figure out. It really is super, super simple. I mean, literally, if you came out on the boat with me, I could teach you in a day what you would need to do to learn how to sail around the world. I mean, as far as operating the boat is concerned, to some people that are uninitiated, it's kind of magical to see. You're on the boat and you pull out this sheet and you tie that rope here and you pull up this sheet and you tie this rope out over here and then you shut the engine off and man, away the boat goes from the wind. It's kind of a magical thing to go through that, but it's really not all that hard to figure out. It's really pretty easy. And the same situation holds true. Whether I'm on a little, 12-foot skiff with a sail up, sailing around in a bay, or I'm on a 40-footer going around the world, it's the same process. It's the same system that works. It's really not all that hard. So I used to be a pilot. Man, if you used to be a pilot, you have no problem figuring out how to sail. You already have the idea of wind and currents and how that works. So sailing is pretty easy. TR, do you follow Nomadic? Yeah, Grizz wants to know if you follow Nomadic Fanatic channel. He boondogs and is giving GPS where he boondocks. He finds places to park that's like little illegal. He's constantly in trouble from the cops from parking in the wrong place. And he spends a lot of time in RV campgrounds sometimes. And there's a book actually that we used to use when we tent camped. And it was something like, free campsites of America or free campgrounds in America. There's all these places that you can camp or pull an RV up and spend the night in that are free if you find the right places. But you need to have those resources in order to be able to find them. There's software apps out there for boondocking. Yes, there is. Yep. There's some software apps to finding good places to park. As there is for sailing too. There's some software out there for that too. Rowboat and fit Lily for a swim pull rig. Yeah, I don't know if she'd pull that much. So if I thought she'd pull, I'd have her on a dog sled up here in Alaska. So Mama tells me she wants a sticks and bricks home, so the RV is probably gone. I'll buy 10 or more acres and homestead. I grew up until age 25 on a 35-acre farm. Well, that's cool, TR Outrider. Yep. Yeah, I tell you, women ruin so many good plans. Sorry, ladies, but, you know, I'm thinking about my second wife. You know, for the 19 years that we were together, I constantly was talking about buying a sailboat, go sailing, buy a sailboat, go sailing, buy a sailboat, and go sailing. And she just kept with one problem after another as to why we couldn't do it. And you see where that ended up. So, only prepper sailing instruction for a fee. Yeah, sure could do that. Sure could do that. Have people come on out and spend a week on the boat or so, and I can teach them how to sail. Problem is, you'd have to fly to wherever I am and fly back from wherever I get to, because we'll be underway and moving from place to place. Grandpa's going to dock by a desert isle. Yeah, no doubt, will. Chris says a lot of places around him used to be free to camp, but not anymore. That's sad. You know, TR, you can tell your wife going out on the RV isn't a permanent situation. Just gives you some time to go out and think for a while. Really figure out what you want to be doing and where you want to be doing it. Use the RV to figure out really where you want to live. Don't end up like Gilligan's Island. You know, sometimes, Grizz, I wouldn't mind being on Gilligan's Island for a while. With or without the girls on it. Just to have some peace and quiet. You know, fact is, in a lot of ways, I'm kind of enjoying being up here in Alaska by myself and having a little peace and quiet and solitude. We'll see how that changes. I'm hoping it does change, but it isn't all that hard. How hard to finance a sailboat? It's not hard at all to finance a sailboat. No different than buying a car. Banks will finance a sailboat just like they do cars and stuff. The problem is, if you finance a sailboat, they're going to require a whole bunch of stuff. You'll have to have inspections on a regular basis. You'll have to carry insurance on it. Not that that's a problem. I mean, a lot of sailboats are financed and go through that. They'll tell you when and where you can go north or south, depending on hurricane seasons and those sorts of things. But everything that they ask you to do is just sort of common sense kind of stuff that you should be doing anyway. So it's not a problem. But yeah, you can get a sailboat finance. If you can buy a car with financing, you can buy a sailboat with financing. It's really not that big a deal. Just don't go out and buy a brand new one and spend a fortune buying something until you've had a couple of 3 junk boats, fixed them up, and learned about them. Then maybe go into a better boat. But start up slowly and work your way to it. Okay. Give that a try. It didn't work. Homestead Island style. There you go. Hard to finance an RV if you live in it full time. Really? I didn't know that. Don't tell them you're going to live in it full time. If they don't ask, don't tell. Right? Not that hard. I wouldn't have shared that kind of information with them in the first place. None of their damn business. But then again, you know, I've never been a big fan of banks. Being a real estate broker and having to deal with banks on a regular daily basis, not a big fan of banks. So anyhow, guys, we're now going into the second hour. I'm tired, and well, fact is I have to go pee. So we're going to call it a night here. And thank you guys for all visiting and spending some time with us. I really do appreciate it. And hope I'll see all you guys here next week. And I'm not sure what the topic for next week's going to be yet, but I'm sure we'll figure out something between now and then. In the meantime, we have some more videos coming out this week that you guys can enjoy watching, and we will see you guys all next week. Unless somebody's got another question, we're going to call it a night. Okay. Good night, guys. You guys have a great day, and we will see you next week. And be sure to watch the videos. Please do like and subscribe. We'll catch you later.